Gang, this week we are actually going to be dropping a crossover episode with one of our friends from Paranormal Directive 13. And Matt did a recent episode on the Wildman from Connecticut that we actually were on his podcast for, and it was such a good time.
So much fun.
He is such a good storyteller. I was just captured. I was like, oh yeah, I've got to say something clever. I forgot.
So good. And we think that you all are going to enjoy it too. So we'll be back next week with normal episodes starting back up again. So as normal, I'm Sean.
And I'm Kathy.
I'm Chris.
This is Weirder After Dark. And happy Thanksgiving!
Happy Thanksgiving!
In August of 1895, a respected town selectman walked out of the woods near Winstead, Connecticut, and told a story that would kick off a media firestorm spreading from small-town newspapers to national wire services in a matter of days. Armed posses hunted the hills, reporters flooded in from New York and Boston, and for months, people lived in genuine fear of something stalking the forests. Welcome back to Paranormal Directive 13. I am your host, Matt, and tonight we are heading into northwestern Connecticut, a place of rolling hills, dense forests, and one of the strangest, most persistent cryptid legends in New England history. But what makes this case different? From your typical 19th century newspaper hoax, people are still seeing it. In 1972, in 1990, and in 2017. Whatever haunts the woods around Winstead, Connecticut, it either refuses to die or it was never just a story to begin with. And tonight, for the first time in Paranormal Directive 13 history, we have some guests. Dare I say, the best New England-based paranormal show out there. If it happened in the Northeast United States, these guys and gal have you covered. I am talking about the fine folks over at the Weirder After Dark podcast. So everyone, welcome.
Thank you so much. We are so stoked to be here. My name is Sean.
I'm Kathy.
Yeah, and I'm Chris.
All right, guys. So thank you for being here. So I gave you a little overview of what we're going to be talking about. So we're going to be talking about a cryptid case in Connecticut. Now, before we dive into that, Connecticut cryptids and New England folklore, you guys grew up with this stuff, right? This is in your DNA. So what do you think specifically about New England attracts all this paranormal stuff?
Ooh, good question. You know, it's the oldest part of the country, which I think that plays something into it. We also have long winters. So we like to sit around and tell each other stories.
And drink a lot.
And
Yeah.
lots of drinking.
A lot of swapping stories in bars.
I think there also could be some interesting elements too. I hear a lot of people talk about just the geological makeup of the areas. There could be like certain stones, minerals around here that could potentially manifest some interesting energies depending on like how weird you want to get.
Now, fun fact, I actually got engaged in Salem, Massachusetts.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah. My buddy lives in Boston and he got married. We went out there and my wife's a big Hocus Pocus fan. So we had to go check out all the sites in Salem.
Of course.
And so we got engaged in the backyard of the big White House. I forget the character's name in the movie. So if I'm ever visiting my buddy in Boston, I will have to hit you guys up.
absolutely.
We will definitely
Yes.
meet up in Salem.
Yes.
That'd be so
So,
fun.
Did you get engaged during spooky season in Salem? too?
No, it was August. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Disgustingly hot.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
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 We are talking tonight about the Winsted Wildman. So, Sean, Kathy, Chris, are you guys familiar with the Wildman?
No.
It's the first time I've heard this one.
We've had a few listeners ask us to do this story. We haven't got around to it yet. I know nothing either.
All right. Perfect. So buckle up because to understand where this all began, we need to go back to a hot August afternoon in 1895 when a man named Riley Smith went out to pick berries and came face to face with something that would change his life forever. We are in Colebrook, Connecticut, mid-August 1895. And that summer heat clings to everything. You know, those super hot, muggy northeastern summers that suck.
It gets
Yes.
wet. It gets wet up
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Riley Smith wipes the back of his neck with a calloused hand, fingers coming away damp with sweat. The late summer air is thick as wool and heavy with the green smell of brambles and overripe fruit. Cicadas drone in waves from the tree line, their rhythm broken only by the occasional snap of a twig under his boots. He spent the better part of an hour in the fields near the Lewis place, filling his basket with blackberries, fat, sun-warmed, that stain his fingers purple.
I
Okay?
love the fucking imagery, Matt. This is
I
so
was,
good.
I was
yeah.
just sitting here thinking,
Hey.
I'm like, God,
I'm in the woods right now.
Yeah, bring it
yeah,
to
yeah.
Also, how wholesome that you're just like, what are you doing on your Saturday? You're gonna go pick some blackberries.
Yeah.
and blueberries. like, I want that simple life again. What the
Right.
hell?
It's honest work, quiet work, the kind that suits a man like Riley Smith. As a town selectman, he's known throughout Colebrook for his level head and steady hand. He doesn't spook easily, and he doesn't talk much either. When Riley Smith gives his word, people listen, and when he tells a story, they believe it. But right now, in this clearing, with the sun slanting low through the oaks and the shadows, Riley isn't thinking about reputation or respectability. He's just a man picking berries with his dog. That bulldog is a squat, barrel-chested brute named Duke, and he's been padding along at Riley's heels all afternoon, snuffing out roots and chasing the occasional grasshopper or squirrel. And this dog is fearless. Riley has seen him chase off foxes twice his size, stand his ground against ornery livestock, and bark down strangers who get too close to the property line. Duke doesn't flinch. So when the dog stops dead in the middle of the field, ears flattening against its skull, Riley notices. So he looks at him, he says, "Duke." The dog doesn't move. His head is low, his body's rigid, his eyes are locked on something that Riley can't see. And a low whine escapes from his throat, just thin and trembling, almost pitiful. Like a sad, scared dog. So Riley straightens, his basket hanging loose in one hand, and the cicadas seem even louder now, almost deafening. Or maybe that's just that everything else has gone silent. No birds, no breeze, just that relentless mechanical hum that you hear when there's no other sound. So he says, "Duke, what is it, boy?" And Duke takes a step backwards, and then another. And then with a strangled whimper, the dog breaks away, just bolting straight toward Riley and wedging himself between his master's legs, trembling so hard Riley can feel it through the fabric of his pants. So Riley's heart kicks once, hard against his ribs. He's never seen Duke afraid of anything. And then he sees it.
And tell me he got the fuck out of there, right? like
Do they ever?
what?
Do they ever?
Oh,
No,
No, they
just
never
run.
do.
No,
but-
they go right for it.
Yeah. There's so many red flags and issues here with this already. Not red flags that it's wrong, but like if I have a dog that runs away terrified, I'm sorry, I'm fucking out. Just immediately out. But also midday. This is midday, right? This is
middle of
not-
the afternoon.
Isn't it so much spookier at midday? I expect my dog to be a little scared at night. I'm scared at
Yeah.
night. But like midday,
Well, yeah,
right.
not just his dog's behavior, but the fact that like he says like everything around him, like nature went quiet,
Oh,
like everything just stopped.
You see those videos of people, they're in the woods and then they like come around a corner and then it's just silent everywhere.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I gotta get out of here.
yeah, I
Yeah.
got the like
Yeah.
heebie-jeebies just thinking
Not the
about it.
people in the cryptid stories though. They go
Of
forward.
course. You
They
got
just go towards it.
Braver than I.
So he sees it, movement, fast and low to the ground at first, and then rising, like unfolding from a dense clump of brush, not even 20 yards away. It's a man, but it's not. It's not a man. Riley's mind stutters, trying to make sense of what his eyes are telling him. The figure is human in shape. 2 arms, 2 legs, a torso, a head, but everything else is just wrong. It is massive. It's easily as tall as Riley and twice as broad across the shoulders. Muscles that bunch and coil beneath the skin that isn't really skin at all. And it's covered head to toe in thick black hair, with long strands that hang past its shoulders, matted and wild, and the rest of its body is sheathed in a pelt so dense it almost looks like an animal. And it's naked, completely naked, just covered in hair. And it's staring at him. And for one frozen heartbeat, neither of them move. Riley can see the rise and fall of its chest. He can see the way its fingers curl and uncurl at its sides. Just long, powerful fingers stained dark with something Riley doesn't even want to know what it is. Its face is shadowed, half hidden behind the curtain of filthy hair, but Riley swears he can see its eyes. And they are dark and gleaming and seemingly aware. And then it moves, but not toward him. It moves away. It explodes into motion with the speed that defies its size, launching itself across the clearing in 3 bounding strides. Branches crack, leaves explode in the air, and the thing moves like water, like lightning. like something that was never meant to be seen by human eyes. It crashes through the underbrush at the far edge of the field and vanishes into the shadows of the forest, leaving only the echo of snapping wood and the faint smell of unwashed flesh still hanging in the air. Riley stands frozen, basket forgotten at his feet, berries spilling into the dirt, and Duke is still pressed against his legs, whimpering. And somewhere, deep in the woods, far beyond where any man should be able to run in such a short time, a branch snaps, then another, and then silence. Riley Smith will tell this story in 3 days' time. The Winstead Herald will print it, and wire services will pick it up, and the whole of New England will come looking for the thing in the woods. But right now in this field, with the sun sinking low and the shadows growing teeth, Riley does the only thing a sane man can do. He runs.
Thank you.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank you.
That's the right answer.
Finally, someone ran away.
Yes. This story has really striking similarities to Kathy and Chris and I did an intro for one of our episodes like 2 months ago about a Bigfoot sighting outside of Detroit. And it sounds exactly like this. It was like a father-son duo. They were walking through a swamp, and then all of a sudden something huge jumped from a tree is what they alleged. Then all of a sudden it stood up, made eye contact, and then ran. And they just said the speed at which it got to the other side of the swamp was like unlike anything they've ever seen before. And all they were left was like this weird scent. So I was just thinking like, oh, so strange and similar to that.
It really is. And it feels so much like a classic Bigfoot story.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was thinking with the smell and the description. But this was before Bigfoot was even talked about, right?
Yeah, I mean, you had people talking about the wild men and things like that in the woods. But yeah, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, outside of like Native American folklore, wasn't really a big thing at this point.
We also have a theory over at Weirder After Dark, Matt, that all the weirdest shit happens in Connecticut.
Yeah.
So it's just like so funny to us. This story's also in Connecticut. We went on like this like absolute fucking heater for like 6 weeks in a row. It was back to back to back to back stories in Connecticut. And we didn't plan it that way. It was just like anything really weird we found was just like, that was the story we told. And
I started a story about something in Vermont, and then the story led me to Connecticut. And I was like, I'm going to do it here. And then I was like, damn, it's in Connecticut.
So there's weird shit. This is just a weird part of New England.
3 days later, August 21st, 1895, Riley Smith walks into the offices of the Winstead Herald. And let me be clear about this again. This isn't some drunk spinning tales at the tavern. Riley Smith is a selectman, basically a town councilman. And he is the kind of guy who doesn't say much, but when he does, people listen. Okay, he's very well respected in the community. So when Riley tells the editor what he saw up near Colebrook, the editor does what any smart newspaper man would do. He prints it. Every single word. The headline reads, "The Wild Man. He appears to Selectman Riley Smith and scares Riley's bulldog out of a year's growth." Now, the detail with this is the bulldog. Like we said, he is not a skittish little lapdog. We are talking about a big, stocky bulldog that would charge a bear without thinking twice. And it is absolutely terrified. That is what really gets me with this, is this dog that should be afraid of nothing sees this thing and is done.
Yeah, dogs know all the smells in the woods, so when they get scared, there's something they're not familiar with.
Right.
That's very telling.
I trust my dog.
You're fucking scared of everything.
It's true, I am.
We just got a puppy and he's scared of everything, but
Yeah.
maybe when he's older, when I bring him up searching for skinwalkers next summer, he'll be a little more trustworthy on what he's afraid of. So the article goes into detail. Riley describes this thing as a large man, stark naked and covered with hair all over his body, that ran out of a clump of bushes at lightning speed. Black hair hanging down to the shoulders, body thickly covered in black hair, muscular, agile, and then just vanished into the woods. And the paper doesn't stop there. They publish a follow-up a week later, August 28th, titled "Selectman Smith Stands by His Story," because apparently people were already questioning him, and the Herald vouched for this guy's character. They said, "Mr. Smith is a man who talks but little. He is a man of undoubted pluck and nerve, and his word is first class."
This reminds me of Seneca Lad.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
So I was just, does it down the road, does this end up like benefiting the town?
Not in the way like the Mothman benefited Point Pleasant. They have a festival thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So the newspaper is basically saying, look, if anyone is telling the truth about seeing something weird, it's this guy. But this is where it gets messy, because once that first story hits, suddenly everyone in Winstead starts seeing the wild man. September 4th, 1895. So we're about a week and a half after the second news story published. A guy named Jim Madra, he comes forward and says he was chased by the terror while picking berries in Riley Smith's berry patch.
He was chased.
Chased by the terror.
So completely different.
Yeah, like the
encounter.
opposite. Yeah.
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 Okay.
But it just so happened to be in the same spot Riley was picking
Yeah,
the
that's
blackberries.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, the kicker for this is Jim says he shot the wild man with a Kodak camera and got the following picture. So
Yeah,
would you guys like
photographic
to
proof?
see? Would you guys like to see the picture?
Fuck
Yeah.
Because
No, we
it's
want to skip the picture. Of course we want to see the fucking picture.
it supposedly adorned the cover of that day's paper. All right, you ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Too bad. The picture, the picture, no one knows where it is.
Mm.
There is debate if the photo actually existed. But the legend is that there was a photo on the paper. The original newspaper does not exist online. It is only on microfilm at the Connecticut State Library, and it does
Road
not have a picture in it.
This is so wild. How come this happens every single time something
Right.
weird happens? They're like, we've got evidence, but it got
It's
destroyed or it's gone. It disappeared. Like,
Yeah.
why?
We don't know where it went.
Why?
I'm researching this, and they're like, he took a picture with a Kodak camera. I'm like, oh, perfect. I can put it on the screen. I can show them. We can have a reaction. And they're like, but it's not there. We don't know where it went. I'm like,
Oh,
come on.
insane.
It's like the Berkshire abductions. There was a radio show that taped the entire thing live. They were taking evidence, and then they erased the tapes the next day.
Yeah,
all the
accidentally,
callers.
right?
Why?
Yeah, because they reuse tapes
Yeah.
or whatever. It's
Yes.
like, you
Yep.
guys have never done that in 30 years, but now all of a sudden, that
It's a
day was the
thing.
day you decided to do it. Yeah. So whether this was real or a gag, it's possible the photo idea was made up for whatever. It worked. The story spreads like wildfire. The same day, September 4th, a woman named Mrs. Pulver from Colebrook flags down a stagecoach in great distress and excitement and tells the driver she saw the wild man near her farm that morning. And she literally begs them to send a posse of people to catch it. So now we have multiple witnesses, panic spreading, and people flagging down carriages in the middle of the day. Kind of feels a little mass hysteria-ish.
Yeah.
Little
For
bit.
sure.
I
Or-
heard a branch break in the woods. It must be the wild man.
Right. It does feel like that, but there is the possibility these people are seeing something. Maybe Riley was the first one as this wild man came into town for the first time, and now it's there, and everyone's just starting to see it. He just happened to be the first one.
As the witnesses stack up, how could it not feel more and more and more credible, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
It's hard to say. And it doesn't stop. The witnesses don't stop. A guy named George Hoskins claims the wild man stole 2 hens from his hen house. And 2 women visiting from New York say that they saw what they thought was an ape or a baboon standing on its hind legs. And then, because every good monster hunt needs a sheriff, Police Chief Steve Wheeler announces he tracked a gorilla man into a swamp before losing the trail.
Credible, though. Now you've got a selectman, a police officer. Like, the credibility's starting to grow.
Yeah.
So by mid-September, over 100 armed men form a posse to hunt this thing down. And they comb the woods and they are ready for war. And they are out there and they see something. They shoot it. And they shoot a mule.
Aw.
Honestly, this is the best part of the 1890s, early 1900s. You just get like your good friends in the fucking woods, drunk with guns. You're just like,
Right.
we're taking something down.
I
We don't know
shoot
what.
People
I
still
sh-
do that today.
It's like the stories, I saw a werewolf and I shot it, but when I got back, it had turned back into a regular man.
Yeah.
Like, no, we shot somebody.
Oh my God.
So they shot a mule. They claimed they thought it was the wild man. And people disbanded pretty quick after that. I mean, what do you do in that
Yeah.
situation? You know, it's like, we'll get him next time, guys.
Another mule.
Third one this week.
Meanwhile, Farmer Jenkins is like, this is my last mule.
Yeah. At least you didn't shoot Jim Bob in the ass.
Right. So here is where the story takes a darker, more plausible turn. Because on that same day, September 4th, 1895, the Hartford Sunday Globe publishes a theory that actually makes sense. What if the wild man isn't a monster at all? What if it's a man named Arthur Beckwith? Arthur was the son of Nelson Beckwith, a former U.S. minister to France. Wealthy family, talented artist. By all accounts, Arthur was brilliant. He accumulated his own fortune, inherited another $500,000 from his father's estate. But then something broke. There was a carriage accident on 7th Avenue in New York. After that, Arthur was never the same. He became suicidal, erratic. His family kept him under close watch at home for years. But eventually, in 1890, they had no choice. They sent him to the Litchfield Asylum. It's tragic, but the thing about Arthur is that he was an escape artist. And on September 10th, 1892, he escapes while playing pool. And escape artist is a strong word because he just walked out. He vanished. And 6 months later, they find him in Cuba.
Whoa.
What?
That's a long way to go
Yeah,
in
yeah,
1895.
Yeah, it's just
Cuba.
like, all right. Cool. I'm like,
Cuba.
what?
This is also the 1890s.
Yeah,
like,
like,
you don't
right.
need to go to Cuba. like three
Like-
towns over.
like- Rowboat? Like,
Yeah.
like,
So when they find him, he's living in a cave. He's wandering the countryside naked, and he's eating uncooked vegetables and fruit. He's living like, well, a wild man.
Yeah.
Yeah, this adds
Right.
up.
So that's deeply unsettling and a terrible story for Arthur. You know, he got in a carriage accident, must have had some sort of traumatic brain injury
Right.
yeah.
or something, or PTSD or something that caused him to delve into depression and suicide and all, lose his mind, essentially. So they bring him back and they return him to the Litchfield Sanitarium and then transfer him to Sanford Hall Insane Asylum in Flushing, New York. But in the spring of 1894, Arthur Beckwith escapes again. And this time, he's never found.
Ooh. Sneaky motherfucker, too.
Right.
How did they find him in Cuba?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I couldn't find that. I don't know. Especially in a cave in Cuba.
In a
Yeah.
cave
Just
in
random
Cuba,
guys
yeah.
naked in the cave in Cuba. Do you guys know anything about it?
Right.
I mean, his dad was a diplomat, though, so
Yeah,
maybe he had some
true.
pull,
He had
some
some
money,
Maybe.
right?
People
So,
looking for
In
him.
Cuba?
Oh, yeah.
Diplomat.
In the 1800s?
I don't know, man.
Cuba was Spanish control.
Yes.
His father was the minister to France, which is right next
Right.
to
So he
So-
knows
so
ministers
yeah.
from.
Yeah, maybe
state.
he had connections and
Yeah.
they tracked him down somehow. Like they had people looking for him. I don't
And he was a
officially know.
millionaire.
The aliens came back and gave him an iPhone and he turned on his
Teleported
location.
through
Yes.
Bigfoot's UFO portal.
It is such a good point, though, because, Chris, when you did your story on Dark Entry Forest, right?
Yes.
Remember those people who kind of lost their mind and would go into the woods and would never be seen again? And we all kind of speculated, like, hey, in the 1800s, you can go 3 towns over, and if people aren't looking for you, you're never going to be seen
Yeah.
again,
Yes.
right? Like, it's a completely different time. So, Kathy, totally get where you're like, how do they find him in
Right.
Cuba?
Well, I'm just thinking it's so far away. Like
Yeah.
going 3 towns over, that would make sense. Or even from like New York to Connecticut, or at least
Even if he was in
geographically
Florida.
close. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's still part of the United
but
States.
he's in
Yeah.
an island.
He's worth $1 million, though. People are looking for him.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
True. In the spring of 1894, Arthur Beckwith escapes again, and this time he's never found, right? Now remember, Riley Smith saw the wild man in 1895, not very long after. It's just 1 year before he saw him. So could it have been Arthur out in the woods? It absolutely could have. The timeline fits, the location fits, the description, a man naked, covered in hair because he's living rough in the wilderness for over a year, it fits.
It does. Yeah. Yeah. It's perfect almost.
But here's the problem with Arthur. Nobody ever confirms it. There's no record of Arthur Beckwith being recaptured in 1895 or later. He just disappears from history.
off the map permanently after that, huh?
Huh.
Okay. He was struggling with some mental illness. It sounded like depression, suicidal thoughts. So it's like, ooh, he could be the wild man, or was there a sadder outcome too? Like,
Or the fact that he was naked in Cuba living in a cave makes me think it's more than just depression. He's got some more serious psychological issues going on there.
And I don't know, you snatch me off the beach, I want to go back maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Whether the wild man was Arthur Beckwith, a hairy hermit, or something stranger, one thing is for sure. The story caught fire. By early September, the Winsted Wildman isn't just a local legend. It is a national story. The New York Herald picks it up. Papers in Boston and Philadelphia and even the South start running wire service reports. Wildman still at large. Terror in Connecticut hills. Posse hunts beast man. Classic 1800s journalism. The golden age of sensationalism, newspapers are competing for readers, and nothing sells papers like a good monster story. What's interesting is that the Winstead Herald, the paper that started it all, keeps doubling down. They don't walk it back. They keep reporting new sightings, new theories. They even start floating the Beckwith Asylum story as if they're doing investigative journalism. So where it gets interesting, most sources will tell you that a guy named Louis Timothy Stone, known around town as the Winstead Liar, was behind the whole thing.
Oh, I'm so intrigued. How? Why? Did he dress up as, or dress down? I guess he's naked, right?
Right,
Dressed
yeah.
down. Definitely dressed down.
Undressed.
Lou Stone was a local reporter who worked at the Winstead Evening Citizen, which is a competing paper to the Winstead Herald. He started as a printer's devil at age 13, which I don't know what a printer's devil is, but that's what they said he was.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
No
like an
idea.
apprentice.
He just gives all the bad thoughts
Yeah.
to publish. Yeah.
So he started as a printer's devil at age 13 and built a career out of writing absurd stories that somehow got picked up by big city papers. We are talking stories like a tree that grew baked apples, a cow that produced ice cream after being locked in an ice house, a chicken that rode the train and laid an egg to pay the fare.
Yep.
He was a professional hoaxer.
I love this guy.
Yeah.
Stone died in 1933. The story becomes that he invented the Winsted Wildman, that he made the whole thing up to sell papers, and that he confessed to the hoax a few days before Thanksgiving in 1895. But again, like we've seen, no one can find the confession. There's no record of it.
Figures.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's no newspaper clipping. There's no microfilm record. Every modern article and website says Lou Stone confessed. But when you try to trace it back to an actual document from 1895, there's nothing. It's like the confession itself is a legend about a legend. So we don't actually know if he made it up. And there's another problem as well, is that the original stories appeared in the Winstead Herald and not Stone's paper, the Evening Citizen.
That's
So-
fair.
Yeah, if he made this up, he wouldn't allow another paper to do the first interview, right?
The story is made it up to sell papers. Why would you
Right.
not sell your own paper?
And you have the town selectman who did the interview. And this sounds like
Well,
he's a
that's-
pretty serious guy.
The theory is he fabricated the story of Riley. Now, why they wouldn't interview Riley to be like, did you actually say this? It's all really doesn't make much sense.
Maybe they just published too much crazy shit from him lately that they're like,
That's
yeah, we
true.
need to take a break. I'm not going to buy this article from you. And maybe the other newspaper was like, we're down for some crazy shit. Wild Man in the Woods. Let's go. Like,
Or what
Could it be
way to
something
make
like
it
that?
maybe seem more credible
Yeah.
if it's not his paper.
and he probably is just looking to make money, right? Because they
Yeah.
probably pay him for the story. So I don't
So
know. I
either way, he's
wonder.
making
I
money
don't
off
know,
of
this
it.
is a small town. You're writing an article about a senator who's a pretty serious guy.
That's fair.
Wouldn't he come out and say, yeah, this article's completely made up like 5
And-
seconds later?
Just like that gone.
Right.
I don't know.
Unless Riley's in on it.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even though in 1895 they thought senators and selectmen were very honest, we know now that politicians are not very honest people.
Wait,
What?
what?
Yeah.
What?
Matt?
No.
Maybe Riley was in on the story
Okay.
and he gave
Yeah,
him a
yeah.
cut of whatever, or the elections were coming up and it brought him notoriety.
Yeah.
Who
Put
knows?
his name in the paper? Yeah.
Yeah. So to that point, Sean, he might have been a stringer for the Herald, or perhaps his papers might have shared content, but his authorship of the Riley Smith story isn't definitively proven. The legend of the Winstead liar confesses to his greatest plank is clean. It's satisfying. It ties up everything with a bow. But the real history is messier than that. So after the frenzy of 1895 dies down, the Winsted Wildman fades into local folklore. It becomes one of those stories that old-timers tell at the general store, a curiosity or a gag. And then, 77 years later, it comes back. July 24th, 1972, two teenagers, Wayne Hall, age 19, and David Chapman, age 18, are hanging out at Chapman's house near Crystal Lake. It is late, it's dark, and they are outside when they see it. In the murky light at the edge of the woods, a figure appears. Huge, hairy, and bipedal. According to the Hartford Courant, the creature is about 8 feet tall. It walks into a neighbor's barn, and the two teens just watch it for 45 minutes as it roams around inside before disappearing back into the forest.
That is a
45
long
minutes,
time.
That is a
Right.
crazy long sighting.
Think about 45 minutes, right? You just watch. You don't run. You don't call the cops. It's the 70s now, okay? So we have phones and things. You don't call the police. When people suggest that they saw a bear, they insist it was no bear. And they are adamant that it was walking upright like a person.
Yeah, 8 feet tall too. Yeah,
Right. I mean, I could imagine a large bear standing on its hind legs being 8 feet.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
But it's not going to stand on its hind legs for 45 minutes.
Have
Right.
you been to Clark's Trading Post? I mean, those bears stand for
All
they play
day.
basketball. Yeah.
Now, 2 years later, on September 27th, 1974, two couples are parked by the Rug Brook Reservoir at night. And suddenly, they see a 6-foot-tall, 300-pound creature covered in dark hair moving near the water in the moonlight. These people are smart. They panic and they flee and they call the police.
About time.
My people.
Officer George Corso responds. He takes one of the witnesses back to the site, and the kid insists they keep the patrol car doors locked and the windows shut. He is terrified.
Yeah.
And the witness claims to see the creature again while they're sitting there. But Corso can't see it. So one person sees it, but the cop doesn't. And what makes these 1970s sightings significant is they happen right in the middle of the Bigfoot craze. The Patterson-Gimlin film came out in 1967. The In Search of TV series is on Bigfoot TV everywhere. So the question is, are these people seeing the same thing Riley Smith saw in 1895? Or are they seeing a culturally updated version of the legend, where a hairy man becomes an 8-foot ape monster because that's what monsters looked like in the 1970s? Summer 1990, Suckerbrook Road, about 2 miles southwest of Winstead. 3 people are walking near a bridge when they see something that stops them cold. Under the bridge, moving fast but gracefully among large stones and brush, is a large, massive figure. The witnesses later file a report with the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, BFRO, report number 78609. And this is how they describe it. About the size of a bear or a big NFL linebacker.
Same difference.
That's good.
Essentially. Moving pretty fast but gracefully. The color was a dirty gray with some darker streaks. And when it leaned forward while running, it looked as if it had no head. Weird description.
Kind of like its shoulders swallowed it.
Kind of like a linebacker for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
They classified this as a Class A sighting, meaning multiple witnesses, visual, and close range. And the BFRO takes it very seriously. In the investigators' notes, they make a fascinating connection. They explicitly link this 1990 sighting to the 1895 story of the Winsted Wildman, noting that the stories were reported in the New York Herald on August 25th, 1895. So the BFRO is basically saying this isn't new, this thing's been here for 100 years. And they're not done. The BFRO database for Litchfield County, Connecticut lists 27 total reports. Not all of them from Winstead, but several are close by. So we'll run through a couple of those highlights.
Please do.
November 1968 in South Kent. A 9-year-old sees a 9-foot-tall, lanky creature with glowing yellow eyes walk through his family's farmyard. Now, you got to take childhood sightings with a grain of salt.
Sure.
Right.
A lot of imagination.
My daughter tells me that the moon at nighttime is not the real moon, but that the one that you see in the morning when the sun is up is the real moon.
She might
So,
have a future.
she might be right.
Casting.
November 1987 in Bakersville. 2 joggers hear a blood-curdling scream that descends into a broken cackle, and they feel like they're being stalked. August 1995, Roraback Wildlife Management Area. A fisherman hears unusual late-night vocalizations. Summer 2008, Macedonia Brook State Park. 2 children hear heavy bipedal footsteps approaching them in deep woods on 2 consecutive days.
It's creepy.
How do you tell bipedal, though? Like, how do you make that out? Would you be able to tell
Especially
that?
as a
Four
kid.
legs?
Somebody's
Yeah.
walking behind you. You know somebody's walking behind you.
But you could tell whether it had 4
Yeah,
legs or 2
bipedal,
legs?
yeah.
Yeah? You think so?
I can
I
hear
think,
some-
I think if you heard them side by side, like if you heard it,
Yeah.
thinking about it, it's hard to think,
Yeah.
but I think if you heard it, you would know. July 2010 in Canaan, a security guard hears a loud female-sounding scream and later finds 18-inch tracks.
Tell me you took samples.
Of course not. May 2014 in Bridgewater, a witness sees a large, dark coffee-colored bipedal animal chasing a deer across the field in broad daylight.
These are adding up now. There's a lot of sightings in a very short period of time here.
June 2017 in Torrington, a couple at a farmhouse reports ongoing activity, thumps on the house, whoop sounds, and seeing a large figure run across a field.
I've seen signs. I don't know. So that freaks me the fuck out, dude. No.
Tinfoil hat on.
Yeah, if there's a cornfield, I'm fucking burning that whole place down and getting out of there. Like, no.
So the thing with this, these are just a couple. There's 27 of these,
Yikes.
right? These are just a couple highlights. This isn't ancient history anymore. This is recent. Like the last one is within the past decade, 2017. That was only 8 years ago. So either Northwestern Connecticut has a serious Bigfoot problem, or what?
People are batshit crazy.
Connecticut's weird.
People really want to believe the legend. Cultural memory influencing what they think they're seeing. You either have Arthur Beckwith, who's been living in the woods for over 100 years,
Yep, that one's out.
right? A wild man, which to me, a wild man back in the 1800s is the description for a Bigfoot,
Yes.
right? So this one, to me, feels like it's just leaning towards this is a Bigfoot story, like through and through. So what is the Winstead Wildman? And we're going to break down the theories. Theory 1, Lou Stone's hoax. The mainstream explanation is that Lou Stone, a professional tall tale teller, invents the story in 1895 to boost newspaper sales, and it works too well. It spirals out of control, and decades later, people retell the legend as if it were real. Modern sightings are just copycats or misidentifications filtered through the lens of an old hoax. Problem with this theory is that there's no proof Stone wrote the original Riley Smith story, and it doesn't explain why the sightings kept happening for over a century.
And you had some pretty prominent people from town being interviewed, including a police officer and a town selectman.
It's 1890s. They do want to sell newspapers. The idea of someone making something up to help newspapers sell stuff, it kind of checks out, right? Like, it makes sense. Maybe it wasn't the newspaper. Maybe it was this guy, and they just wanted to pick up a cool story to bring some readers in. I think that does stand up. And I think back to our episode we did on the Glastonbury Glowacus. Now,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about too, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened in the 1930s, so 40 years after this, Matt. But supposedly there was this like lion-looking type creature that was inside of the woods. Glastonbury went absolutely nuts about it. The Hartford Courant, very similar newspaper from the area, picked up the story. It went national, and for 4 months there were people in the woods hunting this crazy beast.
Did they shoot a mule?
Yeah, no mule shootings. Plenty of other animal shootings though.
Any opportunity for men to go into the woods with guns?
All about it.
Yeah, we're
Absolutely.
down.
All about it. And then every day, Matt, the newspaper was printing printing more articles, doubling down, tripling down, and just really leaning in. Maybe that was all for newspaper sales. Or maybe the Glastonbury Gloacus is also real with the Wildman. I don't know.
I like to lean on the side of everything's real.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
More
hell
fun.
yeah. Way more fun.
Guys are insane. That's why it's always the guys that go out in the woods with the guns.
I
Absolutely.
live in a wood.
Why do you think men
That's not
live
real.
shorter than women?
Because we're in the woods with guns.
Right.
Shooting.
Babe, I'm going hunting Bigfoots. But shit, I just went to the Adirondacks and I told my wife and kids, I'm gonna go hunt skinwalkers.
Yes.
And they're like, no, you're not. I was like, I sure am. And the thing is, the day I went out, there was a bear in the backyard of the cabin. So could easily been mauled by a bear.
Yeah.
Yes, you're going to throw our average off for all men. Matt, he was a good guy, but he got eaten by a bear.
Let's just rephrase it to skinwalker.
Yeah.
You gotta do me that solid.
That's what we're going
You
to say on the
gotta-
podcast about you.
Dude, your
Yes.
podcast will
Memorial.
get off if you die by
Yeah.
skin.
My podcast is gonna posthumously take off like a painter.
TikTok will still block you though.
Yes. Yeah. Now, if this is a hoax, it is the longest running hoax in cryptozoology. Theory number 2, Arthur Beckwith. Now, we're talking Winsted Wildman 1895, not necessarily 2017. The escaped mental patient theory, Arthur Beckwith, goes feral in the wilderness after escaping in 1894. Riley Smith encounters him in August 1895, and the subsequent sightings that fall could be other encounters with Beckwith before he either dies, moves on, or gets recaptured quietly without a public record. The problem with that is it does not explain the 1970s or anything after. So unless Beckwith is immortal and has been living in the woods for 150 years, it doesn't explain the new stuff. Now, if we're talking just 1895, it's possible it could have been Arthur.
Yeah,
It's
that would make
possible, but it also doesn't explain the way they saw it move.
True.
They saw it moving
sense. True.
too fast for a human being.
Well, you don't know.
Probably a lot
Chris,
of
have you
ground.
ever lived in a cave for a year? You might get
yet.
super fast.
But also too,
He
I
did
mean,
get to Cuba in a year, so
That's right.
it's true. It's true.
the guy's moving.
I don't know if this adds credibility to this theory or hurts the theory. I think it could go either direction. But also in Connecticut, we've told the story and shared it about the Leatherman. That happened in the late 1800s as well, too. There's
I listened to
tons of
that.
vagabonds that were living in the woods at this point in
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I think that adds credibility to, like, it could be Arthur. But at the same time, I feel like if this is something that's pretty normal, the people in these towns have probably seen vagabonds living in the woods before and homeless people. They probably recognize that,
Yeah,
right?
Connecticut had a law at that time where it's illegal to be homeless, so
Yeah.
they were constantly moving and hiding from the authorities.
And how long do you have to be homeless for your entire body to be covered?
If I didn't
Yeah.
shave for a year, I wouldn't be that hairy.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking. Like you'd
I mean,
have
like,
to
I haven't
be-
shaved my legs my entire life, and they're not like a foot long in hair.
that's true.
That's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah, but I wonder.
I mean,
do
this
you
is
think-
this is 6 months right here.
The Leatherman looked
Ed-
pretty fucking terrifying.
He did.
So, I'm
He
just going to throw
did.
that out there.
And maybe it wasn't human hair. Maybe it was animal hair. Maybe it was like,
Like camouflage.
Like he killed a
or,
bear.
yeah,
and
like
wore
he
it.
was wearing the skin like as like pants, and I don't know.
This is going like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Wow, this
Yeah.
came
Well, I'm just
dark
thinking
quick.
maybe I don't know.
So people in 1895 see something. It's maybe a hermit, maybe a person with hypertrichosis, which is the condition that causes excessive hair growth, maybe even a bear standing upright. But the story gets sensationalized, becomes local legend. And then in the 1970s and beyond, people who know the legend start attributing any weird sighting to the wild man. Like a feedback loop. So this is theory 3.
I think that adds up. I think that makes sense.
It still requires people to see something. Even if they're misinterpreting what they're seeing, they're still seeing something.
Yeah, there's too many sightings for this to be a hoax. They're seeing
Right.
something in the woods.
So it doesn't mean necessarily that the sightings are fake. It's just that they're being filtered through some sort of cultural lens of what they're told. You grow up hearing there's a wild man in the woods, and you see something hairy and weird that you can't focus on, you think the wild man.
I think hysteria is also real though, Matt. And
Oh,
like
yeah.
I think like people can get so caught up in hype. And I'm gonna throw Kathy, Chris, and myself under the bus. But when that the UFO UAP stuff was happening down in New Jersey over this past summer or
We were
spring, whatever it
idiots.
was, the three of us were driving in a car and we were just joking like, "Oh, we're gonna go out. Maybe we'll see a UAP tonight, right?" We're just like we're driving the car going out to dinner, and then all of a sudden we look out to the left side of the window and we see something in the sky. I don't know how we got caught up in this moment, but one of us was just like, "Oh my god, I think it's a UAP,"
Yeah.
and then we all start freaking out. And we're
John's
like,
like,
"Oh."
wait, what is that? I was like, oh my God, get your camera out. What is it?
And
What
I
is
literally
it?
get my camera and I'm looking, and then all of a sudden we all go, "That's just a fucking
It's just an
airplane." Like, you know,
Fine,
but like,
we're right next to the airport.
but like we got caught up in that hype,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and in the moment,
There was
like,
20 seconds where we were like crashing the car because we thought we saw it in the sky.
yeah, like that's real. It happens, and like that was my first time ever personally experiencing that. Like for
Mhm.
20 seconds, I thought I was seeing something that clearly wasn't that.
Yeah, for real.
Right.
But yeah.
And then we're like on the road on the backside of the airport, guys.
Yeah. Hey, you got excited too.
I
did.
saw what I saw. Yeah,
I
you were
felt the
freaking
car
out.
swerve.
You
I
were
was
freaking
excited for it.
That also actually reminds me of a story my wife told me. Her and her mother, and one night she's over at her house and they're smoking, and the moon's out there, and they see something next to the moon that's coming closer to them, right? And they start freaking the fuck out. And they said it wasn't a plane and then where we live in relation to the airport, it wouldn't make sense for a plane to be flying that direction. And so they're freaking out and they're running in, and they kept like wedging each other into the front door because they tried to go in at the same time. And then she's like, yeah. And then we looked up online and saw that, this one planet was visible by the moon. And she told me that. And I'm like, babe, like, if you see a planet, it's not going to get bigger.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to come towards you as you're watching it. She's like, no, don't tell me that. I was like, it's not. Like,
So what were they smoking?
just cigarettes, unfortunately.
That's
But-
such a good point, though. Sometimes we rationalize and try to go for something that makes sense,
Yeah.
but that
Mhm.
doesn't make sense for what you
So-
saw. You know, like
I told her, I was like, you saw fucking aliens.
Yeah.
And she's
By
like,
the way, your husband is pretty much an expert in this. Like, go to the source.
if I tell you it's aliens, it is aliens. I am basically Giorgio Tsoukalos from Ancient Aliens. Anyways, doesn't mean the sightings are fake, just means they're filtered through a cultural lens. This is the BFRO's position. This is theory 4. There is a population of undiscovered bipedal primates, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call it, living in the dense forests of northwestern Connecticut. The 1895 sightings were real. The modern sightings are real. It is the same phenomenon, just reported across different areas. The problem with all Bigfoot sightings, no bodies, no bones, no scat, just eyewitness accounts.
I want to believe, but like
Me
so much confidence they say that with. It's like there is a population for fact that is living in the woods.
That theory makes the most sense out of all of them, though.
Really, even more than Arthur? I think Arthur makes good sense.
I think Arthur makes the most sense.
Arthur makes a little bit of sense, but then you have the modern sightings. That's not Arthur.
Yeah, but
Right.
they could just be people who are just like, they know the story gets passed around. Some people could be just lying just to get in on it. And
No,
some
one of
people could
that.
just be mistaken.
Yeah, one of
Who-
two things is real. A, there's something they're actually seeing that doesn't fit. Or B, a whole bunch of people are making up a whole bunch of stories based on a newspaper article
Yeah.
that came out a long time ago.
I'm going to go back to one of my theories in a previous episode that we did where I'm saying that people are tripping balls.
Fair.
And
It's
they've heard
drugs,
and
Matt.
they've heard the story and it's like planted in their mind and now they have a sighting.
Well, that's a thing, though, right? If you go into the woods expecting to see something and there's something you can't explain, does the mind make it into something it's not?
I thought a rock was a wild animal out in our woods.
Fair, yeah. If I'm looking for it, the mind will make up what I don't see.
Yeah, it's the
Speaking
same
of,
thing.
my wife is going to what's it, Rolling Hills Asylum. She's terrified. She doesn't want to go. Her sister's making her go. My wife is terrified of all of this, so she doesn't even like to listen to me record. Because it scared the shit out of her. And I told her, I was like, I want to go.
Yeah.
I do a live show from the place.
Yeah.
So I told her she's got to give me a bunch of stuff and all that. But yeah, she's going to see so much stuff just because she thinks she's going to see so much
Oh,
stuff.
for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
So this is the classic cryptozoology problem. There's absence of evidence, and it's some point you would think someone would find something. But then there is the theory with Bigfoot that there's, well, two theories of Bigfoot. One, they are advanced enough as a civilization that they bury their dead, and that's why we can't find any bodies. When they live in a communal society, and when one dies, they bury them, and we're not finding that. Also, the other theory that they're interdimensional beings and to just slip in and out of our world.
Yeah.
Right.
That
So
one makes
that
more
gets into a
sense.
whole nother
Yeah.
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, we got enough time for that.
With the Winstead Wildman, it doesn't fit neatly into any category. It's too well documented to be pure fiction hoax. It's too consistent across time to be a random misidentification. And it's too weird for cryptozoology to just be just a Bigfoot sighting. It's something kind of in between, leaning towards Bigfoot. So, where does that leave us on the Winstead Wildman? In 1895, a respected town official saw something in the woods near Colebrook, Connecticut that scared him badly enough to report it to the local paper. That story exploded into a media firestorm, attracting reporters, tourists, and armed men in the woods. It became a legend, and then decades later, people started seeing it again. So whether the Winstead Wildman is an escaped patient, a misidentified bear, a folklore-fueled hallucination, or an honest-to-God cryptid, there's something in the woods. Or at least people believe there's something in the woods. And maybe that's enough for Connecticut.
Well, only one thing left in my mind. We're going to go buy some fucking guns and go look, right?
Let's
go. Oh, what an awesome story, though, Matt.
Yeah,
That is so cool.
This reminds me of the Dover Demon. There was definitely something there, but we'll probably never know what it was.
The thing with Dover Demon, though, is it was just like 2 or 3 days. There's not new ones. There's not ones before it. It was just those 3 days. If they kept seeing it now, then I'd be like, I don't know. But like,
Yeah, it almost leads credence to it that it only happened for 2 days.
The Glastonbury Glowackis case, like, just lines up so good to this one. Like, the newspapers, hundreds of people claiming to have seen it, happening over decades.
People going out in the woods hunting it.
It, like newspapers doubling, tripling down on the stories and keep pumping them out. So interesting that both of them in Connecticut, and they've got to at least be in 50 miles of each other, these two towns. So that's so interesting.
With that story, there was also modern reports.
Yeah.
Out of, I want to say Montana or something, right?
Yeah, Missouri something like that. Yeah. Matt, what do you think? What's your take if you had to pick one?
So I think it's a Bigfoot. I'm a big Bigfoot believer. I told you guys when I was on your episode, I've always wanted to find Bigfoot, and I think Bigfoot's real. I think the Wild Man is a Bigfoot story that in 1895, they didn't know what a Bigfoot was, so they called it a Wild Man, and the modern sightings and all that. I think the Wild Man is Connecticut Bigfoots. Sean, what do you think?
I am kind of taken by the Arthur story. So I'm thinking it started probably of Arthur after coming back from Cuba, escaping for the second time, living in the woods. And I feel like it probably started by some sightings of him, caught some fire a little bit, kind of like that UAP story or the Glowackis story that I shared a little bit. And then I think that explains that. But Arthur had to have died eventually, right? Like, how does it explain anything after the 1890s? I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. And so that leaves enough plausible deniability that maybe it is something real. Maybe it is a cryptid. Maybe. I don't know. I'm on the fence here. Kathy, you're judging me. I can tell by your face. You're judging me hard for even keeping this idea open.
I think the Arthur story definitely holds some truth for me, and I think that I don't know if he like actually went to Cuba,
You're stuck on that. Like, how did he get to Cuba? How did they find
I
him?
just think that like I do think that there is some truth in like all of these legends and lores and all of that stuff. There's some truth there. Maybe it was Arthur living in the woods and it was sort of fabricated and made to be bigger, and it kind of was like wildfire. And then I think just like with any good story, it gets passed down, it gets remembered. People see things, people want to be a part of something, they want to insert themselves.
You see, I love the Arthur story. I love the fact that he made it to Cuba, but I don't think that's what people are seeing. I think the wild man is even more evidence that Bigfoot is real. Because if you didn't have an idea of Bigfoot, what would you call it? It would be a wild man in the woods that was hairy. So I think that description almost gives more credence to the modern Bigfoot stories. And the fact that you see it decades later must mean it's part of a family group. It's intergenerational, right?
Well, and that's the thing with Bigfoot is like there are stories thousands of years old of what we would call a Bigfoot. They had to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
People are seeing something. And that's the hard part with it is where is it?
Northwest Connecticut, it sounds like.
Yeah. Northwest, yeah.
And then my pause is what you were talking about, right? Well, where is the body? We can find dinosaur bones. We can't dig up Bigfoot bones. What happened, right? That's the part that throws me off. And I'm back to this is a hoax or these are misidentifications. I go back and forth.
There actually is a pretty interesting, I don't know how fully credible it is, but history in the United States of archaeologists and people out there finding bones of large looking individuals, even in
Giants,
New England,
yes.
giants and stuff of
In
that.
Connecticut,
So
yes.
maybe that is Bigfoot bones if it's real. There's even like conspiracy theories that like all the bones that get dug up of people who are 7+ feet tall get sent to like some national museum and
The
then they just go
Smithsonian,
missing.
yes.
Yeah. So
There's lots of documentation that the Smithsonian went around and bought all these bones, and now they are just not displayed.
yeah. So
Interesting.
maybe.
Like people like Andre the Giant, it's the only
With giantism,
giant
yeah.
that I can think of. Would they perhaps have the same gene that like the Bigfoot had, but they never evolved into humans?
Andre the Giant was a Bigfoot.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
The descendant of a Bigfoot.
Help me, help
Yes,
me.
I like that.
Well, it's like you have the Megapithecus, essentially a Bigfoot. Could they still be surviving in small populations around the world? Why not? Why not? As developed as the United States is, the U.S. itself has got a ton of dense, undiscovered forest. Something could be out there, like the orang pendek, which was found somewhere in Europe. It's a hobbit. Legends of hobbits forever, and no one ever found one. And then just recently, they found the orang pendek, which is a small human. It's a hobbit. And that's
cool.
real. Like it is 100% real. They found it.
Just a quick edit. When we were recording this, I was way off. It wasn't the orang pendek. It was the Homo floresiensis, or the florist man. But that's what I was talking about. Not the orang pendek. I had my creatures confused.
Well, the Kraken was a myth until they found a giant squid washed up in Norway.
Right.
It's like, okay, this isn't actually a myth. This was actually real.
I don't know much about Connecticut and like what the woods look like down there, but we took a vacation this summer up to Pittsburgh, New Hampshire. You know, there's theories up there about Bigfoot-like cousin called the wood devil, and we were all kind of laughing about it. But when we were driving through some of those woods, they're thick. It is thick up in the North Country, and like I could totally see something out there that we just, I don't know, it's doing its own thing and it doesn't want to be seen. So I could believe it.
We drove down a logging road for like 20 miles and did not see anything other than woods. That was telling.
All right, guys. So we have Bigfoot believer. We have Arthur, people seeing something weird. We have possibly Bigfoot. I'm not really sure. Could be something. And then we have, I don't know if cryptids are real or not.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess that kind of leaves us with the Winstead Wildman. It's a weird cryptid story from your guys' neck of the woods, and there's still sightings today. So if you're in Connecticut and you see the Wildman, be the first one to take a fucking picture.
And not lose it, delete it.
Yeah.
And then email that shit to us.
Yes.
We'll break it for you.
Yes.
Don't send it to the newspaper.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here tonight. I appreciate you being on here. I loved my time being with you guys on your episode and can't thank you enough for being here. Tell everyone where we can find you.
Matt, thanks again so much. I know we had such a blast, A, having you on our podcast, and B, having this opportunity to come on here and hear your amazing storytelling. So thank you so much for the invite. And we're not just gassing you up, man. You truly are like majestic storyteller. So super honored to be
Agreed.
here. And gang, we hope you enjoyed it too. And if you did, make sure you find yourselves over to our Instagram. That is at Weirder After Dark. We'll go ahead and make sure that post some fantastic images supporting all of the research for this episode. And don't forget, it's not just Instagram. We are also out there building communities over on Reddit and Facebook. And again, that is at Weirder After Dark. So if you are enjoying these episodes, find yourself over there and you can interact with not just myself, Kathy, and Chris, but other listeners who are enjoying these episodes just like you. And don't forget, if you are liking this shit, if you are absolutely loving this shit, the best thing that you can do for us is go ahead and leave a 5-star review wherever it is that you are listening. It would absolutely mean the world. And don't forget, it always gets a little weirder after dark.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.